this video I'm quickly going to create a full circle skirt block, but I'm going to add in some extra pleats and godets just to create a really full and beautiful silhouette. So I'm going to choose the smallest block, so just let me switch off everything here apart from my smallest block there. I'm going to take the floor length or hem length block and just copy that over here. Now I'm going to use the train layer, which is much longer than this floor length section here, with this block, so I need to flip this block over. So I'm just going to flip this, and for that I use the reflect tool and just pop that there. I'm going to Command and Z that because I think possibly you noticed it wasn't quite straight when I so let me just zoom in here and flip this again, just making sure perfectly on these anchor points, and that's better. And then I'm going to take this section here, so I'm just going to copy it, Command C and Command V on a Mac, or it would be Control C, Control V on a PC. I'm going to put these two together here, but you can see there that the side of the what I call the train layer section is much longer than the hem of the garment. And also I've got my two fabric templates open here. One of them is 100 centimeters wide, or that would be 39 3/8 of an inch, and the other one, this one here, is 145 centimeters wide, and that's how wide my fabric is, which is 57 1/16. So I'm just going to bring in the side of the skirt here, so it's perfectly aligned with the hem. So I've got a regular centre front there, and that's not a problem for me because I'm going to insert a godet. My hem level round to the side seam, and this is my centre back, and I want this very, very long, and that's why I need this seam at centre front and centre back. I'm going to make this even longer than it is just by dragging a box over those points there and lengthening the centre back as long as I want it. I'm going to create a godet which is inserted into the centre back seam here. So I'm just going to drag a box over these pattern sections, and I'm just going to use Command and 2 just to lock them so that they don't interact with what I'm doing now. I just need a line segment here. So I'm going to pick up the line segment tool and just create a line from that anchor point there to that anchor point there, and it's just under 178 centimeters in length. So just create a line there that gives me a point from which I can create a circle, and I'm going to take a sector of that circle and use that as my godet. So I'm just going to click off that to deactivate that line segment and go over and select my ellipse tool. Using that anchor point there, I'm going to hold down my Shift and Option key, and you can see I have an icon there that shows me that when I pull this circle out here, it's going to come from the point where I started, which is the top of that line segment. Now I've hit the hem, I'm just going to let go, and that's the plan I'm going to use for my godet there. So I'm just going to click off that. I actually might change the colour of this so that it stands out and it's visible. I sometimes go in as well and just change the line segment, not up to 7 points, but for you just to be able to see what I'm doing. So this is the start of my Godet shaping. I'm going to plan my Godet shape now. So as you know, I have a line segment there, which is the length, or that's going to be the centre of the Godet there. And I also have my circular pattern shape, which allows me to plan my Godet. So I'm going to go back to the line segment tool now. And starting from the anchor point there, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, so Command and plus, just to give me a much better view of that there, just to make sure I'm perfectly on there. When I'm happy, I'm just going to drag a line from there and decide where to place this new line, and I'm going to just place it slightly over the circle, and I'll show you why in a second. So let me think. I think I'm going to do this by eye. I'm not going to measure, but I'm going to leave that there, and that's going to be half the width of my Godet at the hem. So now I'm going to take this line here, make sure it's highlighted. I'm going to use the reflect tool, and I'm going to mirror that line. In fact, before I do it, I'm going to do a Command C and a Command F. And what that's done is it's pasted a line directly on top of that line. On a PC, it would be Control C, Control F. So I'm going to go back to my mirror tool now and mirror on this central line here. So have a perfectly symmetrical pattern section there. And these are slightly hanging over, as we know. Also, I'm going to go in just with my tool here, and I'm just going to pull this line down ever so slightly. Whoops. I pulled down the wrong one. I just want this one, this central line, just so it overlaps the circle. I'm going to activate all these by just dragging a box around them so that they're all active. I'm going to use this tool now, which is the Shape Builder tool, and I'm going to click there. So what that's done is it's separating the sections off, which is great. That's a section, and I want that separated because I don't need all that. And then what it's done is it's given me a separate section here and a separate section there. That's okay for now. So if I just go to here and I just press backspace, that's deleted the rest of that section. I'm going to drag a box around here now, and I'm using the Shape Builder tool to do something completely different, combine these two sections. It's a fantastic tool. I absolutely love it for pattern cutting. So there is my Godet shape, which fits perfectly into the centre back seam. So just let's take a little look at that. So let's use the rotate tool, that's the anchor point there. And I'm just going to look at that, and that fits beautifully. So it'll sew to each side of the centre back and give me a really nice shape there. What I'm going to do then is just a Command and Z to get that back to its shape. Now you can see these little lines that I extended out. That was just so that there was no confusion and it knew that I wanted to separate on those lines. So I can just move my Godet pattern section to the side. I'm going to create another small Godet to go into the centre front here of the skirt. What I will do is I have both layers open here for my fabric width, so I'm going to go over to my 100 centimetre fabric width, or 39 3/8 of an inch, and switch that one off. so that's not getting in my way anymore. I'm also going to lock my fabric template layer there for underneath so that I don't interfere with that. I'm going to pick up my pattern sections. At the moment they're locked, so I will use Option, Command and 2. That's Alt, Control and 2 on a PC. And I'm just, while they're highlighted, I'm going to use a Command and G. It would be Control and G on a PC, just to lock those. I'll just move them into the centre there. I don't have to have this fabric template layer on if I don't want it. I can just switch it off. It just helps me know that when I'm creating full circle skirts that I'm not going over the width of the fabric that I have available if I'm creating a very large statement style skirt. So now, first of all, I need a line segment. So I'm just going to pick up my line segment and give myself a segment from here to here. And you can see that that's 105 centimetres, which is to my floor length. So I'm just going to let go of that. Now I want another line segment, and that's going to go from this point here at the waist to the hem of the skirt. So I'm just going to use my eye again, and I'm going to leave that there. I only want a very small godet at the front there. So that's great. Now you can see the pattern piece underneath is activated. I need to lock that, so I'm just going to use Command and 2 to lock it so that all I have active are the lines that I've just drawn in on top of this pattern. Now I'm going to use the ellipse tool again. We've done this before, it's just a repeat. So the ellipse tool, and I'm using my Shift and Option key and just going out from the anchor point there until I reach the hem there of the skirt, which is great. I'm going back to these lines here, and I'm just going to pull the line over the circle. And when I do it here on the centre front, I can hold the Shift key to make sure it stays vertical. That just helps the next tool I'm going to use to know where I actually want to split the pattern pieces. We get rid of these tiny little lines after. So drag a box over there to activate everything, going over to my favourite tool, which is the shape builder. Click on there. I don't want that one. And then I've got that one there, but I'm just going to leave that for a moment, because what I do need to do is take this line here, or take this pattern piece here. I'm doing it in a slightly different way from last time. Command C, Command F, and then I'm going to mirror that section over. So just go to mirror here, reflect, and click on there and click on there. That's great. You know I can get rid of this section here, so I just did it in a slightly different way there. I can also get rid of that tiny little piece there on that one. And if I want to combine these, I can use my shape builder to just drag from one section to the other. And when I bring that one off now, you'll see I have a perfect godet, perfectly shaped, that's going to fit into my shape here. So I'm just going to pop that to the side. So I approached that in a slightly different way, but I had the same result in the end. Now, because I don't want to use a huge quantity and go to the great expense of creating a toile for this design in full scale, I'm going to create a half scale version of this pattern and use my half scale mannequin. So what I've done is I've highlighted all of these pattern sections. I'm just going to right click, transform, and I'm going to scale. And I'm going to use 50%. and I want to copy these so that I have there, I'll just go in, a copy of half of the pattern, so half scale version, and I'm going to sew up that half scale version and assess how it looks on my half scale mannequin before I go any further. I've gone ahead here and copied and pasted my pattern sections in onto my master tiling template, and as you can see there, even at half scale they're pretty huge, and I'm trying to use as little paper as I possibly can, not because I'm concerned about the paper, it's just I want to avoid myself having to tape all these sections. But this is a really quick way to be able to test out a pattern and make sure that it's okay without going to too much expense. So when I'm happy with that, I'm going to print those off and have a look at a half size or half scale version of this design. Just a few tips here really for you. When I'm creating this type of thing and I'm doing a very quick, I don't have a full scale plotter here, so I'm going to unlock these and just delete these sections here. This page won't need to be printed and this page won't need to be printed. I can go into view and show artboards, and that just shows you my artboards there. So if I just get rid of my layers panel here, just go to window, and I just want my artboards there. If I click on this one, you can see that's artboard number 5. I can send it to the bin, and click on this one here and send that one to the bin. I'm just going to just do a command and minus just to make sure that I'm on top of this. That one, that one can go. As I click on them, I know where they are. They come on the artboard list there, and a couple more that I can get rid of. I know my numbers aren't right now, and if I wanted to and I was doing this for a client, I would go in and I would change all the numbers, but for speed what I would do now is just take a screenshot of this so that I know how all the pattern sections lie, where the numbers are, and it just saves printing out blank sheets, which can be actually confusing. So I'm going to take a quick snag of that, and then I will have a visual reference of how to put those back together.